Hello, this is AstrologerCoach Sonja Francis, and today I'm going to be talking with you about the upcoming lunar eclipse, which happens in 25 degrees of Libra on April 15th at 3:42 a.m. East Coast time in the US and 12:42 a.m. Pacific time in the US. And the eclipse, as maybe some of you know already, is a very powerful full moon. It's when the sun and the moon and the earth align in the same degree. And basically, the moon gets overshadowed and doesn't have any light, and for a particular amount of time, and it's altering the energy field and of the earth and upgrading our consciousness. And so a lot of times it stirs something up in us, something that's been in the background, that's been in the unconscious. And we're having an increased awareness of our deepest motivations and fears. And so this is really an opportunity to look and see, what's coming up so we can face it consciously and front on, right? Now, there's definitely going to be very big shifts with this eclipse. It's a very potent eclipse because it's going to be almost exact. And all of us, on some level, we're going to be experiencing some shifts happening, especially around relationships of all kinds, because it is a lunar eclipse, but also it's in Libra, which is the relationship sign, which represents cooperation, justice, peace, collaboration, being able to connect to other people on an equal basis in an equal way. And so this eclipse is definitely bringing up or stirring up some of these things for us. Now, an eclipse is always endings and beginnings of some sorts, and usually whatever is ending needs to end so that we can step up to a new place in our lives. It's really an evolutionary journey that we're on with the eclipses, and it's connected to our soul's journey. And something new is beginning, something new that needs to begin so that we can fulfill on our soul's journey. Now, there's definitely a sense that we're needing to grow, that we are growing, that we're moving to the next level of something. And it's somehow, the metaphor that comes to mind when I think about the eclipses, it's like we're on this journey, we're on this, it's either like a roller coaster ride, or it's like we're being shot out of a cannon and we're flying in midair. But it's sort of like a place where we feel a little bit uncertain, and we're not quite knowing, if we're going up or down, and where we're landing, and it feels very uncertain. And it could also feel a little bit frightening, and it could also feel a little bit like nauseating of some sort, but it's definitely a turning point in our lives, because we're landing somewhere where something new can occur, and where we're able to start begin like a new journey in our lives that's much further, much higher in vibration than where we've been before. So the key with the eclipses really is to allow ourselves to fly through the air and get excited about where we're going to land, even if we don't know yet where we're going to land. And just knowing that it is a better place, that we're landing in a better place. Now, questions you can ask yourself for this lunar eclipse: what am I really trying to do in this life, in this particular body? And where do I want to connect to? With who do I want to connect to? And how do I want to find balance in my relationships and within myself? Now, we're gonna definitely have to cover a lot today with this eclipse, because there's also a grand cross that's part of the lunar eclipse, and Pluto is stationing right around the same time as well. So there's definitely a lot to talk about, but I'll get into that in a moment. Let me just say this. If this eclipse is not going to change something in your life that aligns you with your higher purpose, then I'm not sure what will, because this is definitely a very potent energy that we're in right now. So allow that to happen. Allow yourself to be changed by what's occurring, because you are going to a better place. Okay, and also, just so you can find a little bit of an understanding of what this might be about, the last lunar eclipse that happened in 25 degrees of Libra happened in April of 1995. So think back to what happened around that time for you. And if you don't remember for some reason, or if you're too young to remember, think back what might have happened to your parents at that time. And if you remember what happened, just know that it's not going to be exactly the same, of course, but there will be an energetic resonance to the type of thing that may happen again, right? And you're obviously already on a higher evolutionary path than you were back then in 1995, because this is a whole other eclipse cycle, right, that we're in right now. And so it will not be the same, but there will be some kind of resonance, and it might even be a resolution to what happened in 1995, right? Then the other thing we can look to is October 2013, because we had a lunar eclipse in 25 degrees of Aries at the time, in October of 2013, and something got started around that time. Something shifted or happened around that time that is now also looking to get resolved. So think back, what sort of happened in the fall of last year for you? Was there anything new that came in, or anything that you've been not being able to resolve since then, and that may now be able to be resolved? Also, the nodal axis, which is the moon nodes, they represent our soul's journey, right? And the nodal axes are usually very much connected to an eclipse. That's why an eclipse occurs, because of the nodal axis being connected there. Now, when the eclipse happened in October, the nodal axes were connected by degree, but not by sign. They were not yet in Libra Aries, like the eclipse was. But now this eclipse, the nodal axis is already in Libra Aries since a couple of weeks. So this is why this eclipse is going to be much more potent than the last one, and because the moon is aligning with the north node this time around, we're definitely getting to have some kind of emotional resolution of some sort, with a relationship of ours, maybe with healing a memory around a relationship that we've had from the past, maybe making new emotional connections, or ending an emotional connection that has just not been working for us. Maybe moving into a new home, maybe starting a new family, maybe a new family member coming in, or a family member departing or leaving, so there's sort of like an ending and beginning sort of type scenario with emotional connections that we have to other people. But it's something that's really connecting us to the next phase of our life, to the evolution of our life. So it's also a chance with this moon connection to the north node in 28 degrees of Libra. There is a chance to really heal some very old trauma that may have happened to us or to our parents as far back as December of 1982. And the reason why I'm saying December 1982 is because Saturn and Pluto were conjunct or aligned together in 28 degrees of Libra at that time. So some trauma that happened around that time is now being able to be released and let go of. And this is a big part of this eclipse too, is that the past is sort of like showing up in some way and is trying to be resolved, and we're trying to let go of some past issues that no longer serve us, that are kind of holding us back, right? Now feel free to watch my video on the moon nodes, Libra and Aries, that will be in those two signs until November of 2012. Feel free to watch that video for more details on what that means in terms of our soul's journey and where we're going for these next 18 months. But for this video, let's talk about the Grand Cross that's occurring very, very much, very close to the lunar eclipse, a little bit after the lunar eclipse becomes exact, and is connected to Uranus, Mars, Jupiter, and Pluto. And it's building at the time of the lunar eclipse. It will be exact for the second time, April 20 to 23rd. it was exact for the first time in the end of December 2013, beginning of January 2014. And it will be exact again in mid-June of this year. So as you can see, this is sort of a process, this Grand Cross, which is helping us to shift and change things in our lives, is a process that we're undergoing, all of us, somewhere in our lives. And we're kind of altering how we live. We're kind of letting go of certain things that are no longer serving us. And we're kind of also feel with a Grand Cross, a lot of times we feel like we're being pushed in 4 different directions. There's a lot of different places that we're needing to pay attention to and that we're needing to go. So it's a major time of breakthroughs. It's a major time of breakdowns as well, depending on our attitude. And of course, breakdowns can lead to breakthroughs as well. But what we're really trying to get to with this Grand Cross is to get connected to our courage, to collaborating with other people, to being flexible, to making sure that we take really good care of ourselves, self-mastery, that we take responsibility for ourselves, and integrity, that we're in integrity and that we're authentic with who we are. And so all of this is really part of this Grand Cross playing out. And so as best as you can, with this Grand Cross, just observe what's occurring, take actions, but take baby steps. Take it one day at a time. Don't push yourself, because right now Mars is retrograde. So with Mars being retrograde, we don't want to push ourselves necessarily. We want to allow a certain amount of flow and let things flow in an organic way, which that is also connected to the South Node being in Aries. We want to kind of allow things to kind of flow through us rather than force them. And if we can, we want to be the eye of the storm and be as present as possible, and really come from a place of love rather than fear. Obviously this is something that I keep repeating quite a bit, but it is very important, and it's good to repeat that and to remind ourselves of that. Now, the Grand Cross is definitely, in general, a great aspect for accomplishments, but it's not so much a great aspect for personal relationships and connections, because we're juggling so many balls at the same time. We have 4 balls in the air at the same time, and we need to make sure that they're all staying up. And so, remember that most of us are going through this in some way. And a lot of people are probably going to feel a little bit overwhelmed by it, or are going to feel anxious by it. And so, what's really important is that we need to give ourselves and other people some slack around this time, because it's going to be a very energized, potent, maybe stressful time for some of us or most of us. And so, if someone's not returning a phone call, it's nothing personal. They just simply can't right now because they're too busy. They're juggling too many things right now, right? So very important to remember not to take things too personally. If someone's short with you, if someone's not quite present with you, just remember they're just going through their stuff. So of course, exercising self-care is really highly advisable and is very important. And then also being compassionate with yourself and with other people to understand, I'm going through this, they're probably going through something as well, So there also, I want to say, there may be a tendency for some of us to want to escape the pressures of the Grand Cross and the uncertainty of the eclipses. However, this is going to be very difficult to do. So the best thing really with the energies as they are right now is really to surrender to what's occurring, to accept it, to go one day at a time, to do the best you can. To just kind of take it one step at a time, take baby step, take little actions whenever you can, and take good care of yourself. You can move beyond this, and just remember that there's something very profound that is happening here. There's something profound in the workings. It's an opportunity to change your lives for the better, to have a better life, right? Now, the first, we already talked about the Grand Cross having been exact already, and it's going to be exact again in June. So again, this is definitely a process that we're going through, and it's very important for us to just observe what needs to happen in our lives to make the best out of this transformative aspect, because that's really what it is. It's a very transformative time for us. And look to see what's working, what's not working, what needs to change, and tap into your courage, rather than go into fear when you think about these things, right? Now, let's talk also about the Pluto station, right, in more detail, because that's also part of the lunar eclipse. And the message here is very clear, which is let go of anything that doesn't empower you or your soul's journey. Because, Pluto is the planet of empowerment. It's the planet of transformation. It's the planet that wants us to fulfill on our soul purpose, tap into our passion, be authentic in the world. And strong and powerful, but powerful from a place of love, not from a place of fear, right? And I think that power is something that gets misunderstood a lot of times. When you talk about feeling empowered, you always think that you have to be this strong person that can't be destroyed. But the truth is, power is just kind of being in your center and being able to connect to what you feel passionate about and what the love in you that you feel so strongly for life and for what you're doing in life, the purpose that you have for life. So that's really what that empowerment place is, that self-empowerment. Now, with the Pluto station, there's deep structural changes that have to occur because Pluto is stationing in Capricorn, of course. So we have to ask ourselves, what am I building long term that supports my soul purpose, and what doesn't? And if there's something that doesn't support our soul purpose, how can I maybe let that go? And if you're not sure what your soul purpose is about, then stay tuned until the end of this video and just listen to what I'm offering in terms of an eclipse special, because you're going to be very interested in that, okay? So let's just talk a little bit more about the Pluto station. Now, another question you can ask yourself is, what role does fear play in my life? Where do I have attachments out of fear? And in particular, because Pluto is stationing in Capricorn, any attachments you have out of fear that have to do with your structure. So anything that has to do with work or your career, with long-term goals, anything that has to do with where you live, or the kind of security that you have on a financial or monetary level, right? Things that really help you feel safe in the physical world, right? Like, what are you being attached to out of fear right now? But you deep down, that really, you would prefer to let it go, but you're holding on because you're scared, right? So these are some questions to ask yourself and to just be with those questions, right? Now, one thing is for sure, for the next 4 weeks, self-care is multi-importante, because with the eclipses being here, the second eclipse will be on April 29th. So really for the next 4 weeks and even beyond that, we really want to make sure that we take care of ourselves really well, that we stay centered in love, that we use all the tools in our toolbox that we have to help us stay grounded. Really use whatever that helps you to stay calm and to stay peaceful within, to help you be in balance from inside. And, bring a lot of conscious awareness to this time of change, because this is what it is, and having your eyes and your heart wide open is going to make this transition in this time of change much easier. And it's definitely the best recipe for arriving at a higher vibrational place in your life, if you can do that, if you can keep your eyes and your heart wide open, right? Now, there's an expression that I just read recently, and I really loved it because I think it's so beautifully connected to this Grand Cross. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I'm sure some of you have heard this expression before, but I think it's just very beautiful, and I think it's so true in terms of what we're experiencing right now. There's so much shifting and changing, and how we look at life is changing. And so things around us will change too. And this is the beauty of what's happening right now, right? Now, if you do have 23 to 28 degrees or 11 to 16 degrees of Aries, Libra, Capricorn, or Cancer, then you're definitely going to feel this eclipse and this cardinal cross very strongly. And then that means that the shifts that are happening in your life right now are definitely going to be more profound than for those of you who are not having these degrees. Now, personal planets are the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars. Personal points are the ascendant, which is also the rising sign, and the MC, which is the midpoint, the midheaven, at the top of the chart, the career point. And so if you have any of those degrees and signs in those places, those planets and points, then you are definitely experiencing something very profound. So now let's talk about the Eclipse Special, right? In order to understand your soul's purpose more fully, if this is something that you're still looking for or still wanting to deepen in your life, look at my retreat page on my website at AstrologerCoach.com. There is a link to retreats in May 2014, or just retreat 2014. My very dear friend Krista Mitchell and I, we're going to be doing a fantastic retreat, and I've talked about this earlier already, which is covering, we're guiding people through their soul's journey, their soul purpose, understanding it, activating the soul purpose. And so I wanted to offer anybody who signs up for that course between now and April 17th a free 20-minute soul purpose reading that you can have via Skype or phone anytime before the retreat, so that you can already get in alignment with what we're going to be covering, and also so it helps you get through the eclipses a little bit and to see what's going on for you. And if you have already signed up for the retreat, then feel free to sign up a friend. And if you sign up a friend, you will get a free 20-minute reading as well. All right. So I hope this is clear. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out and email me at Sonja@AstrologerCoach.com. That's SONJA@AstrologerCoach.com. And I will be back very soon with covering the next eclipse, which will be the solar eclipse in 9 degrees of Taurus. So stay tuned. And have a fantastic eclipse. And remember to stay grounded and centered, stay open, and just know that you're going to the next evolutionary place in your life, and it's going to be perfect. All right, have a good one. This is Astrologer Coach Sonja Francis. Goodbye.